This is KGW News at noon.
Fans are returning to Moda Center for Blazers games. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brenda Braxton. Just about an hour ago, the Trailblazers announced that a small number of fans will be allowed inside starting this Friday for the game against the LA Lakers. This coincides with the governor's announcement that Multnomah County is dropping from extreme risk to high risk on Friday. Here's what's changing. Moda Center will be limited to 10% capacity. That's around 2,000 people. All fans will have to wear a mask, and tickets will be sold in pods, allowing families to sit together. Pods will be limited to no more than 6 people. Tickets for Friday's game will go on sale tomorrow morning, and season ticket holders will get priority. We have a lot more details about the new rules on KGW.com and the KGW mobile app. Well, Washington Governor Jay Inslee will not enact any new restrictions for 2 weeks. For now, every county will stay in its current phase. In the southwest part of the state, Cowlitz County is in phase 2. Clark and all other counties are in phase 3. Both allow indoor dining with capacity limits. Data from the state shows a 4th wave of the virus is now hitting a plateau.
We're at the intersection of progress and failure, and we cannot veer from the path of progress. Our economy is starting to show early signs of growth. We've had great legislative victories on a number of issues, and we know vaccines are the ticket to full reopening, and we're very pleased about the success to date in that regard.
Washington will reevaluate each county in 2 weeks. Starting this weekend, folks who need the COVID vaccine can get it at a drive-up event at Portland International Airport. It's happening this Saturday from 11 to 3 and Sunday from 8 to 3. The clinic is in the red economy lot, and you don't need an appointment. Boy, a lot has changed in just a few weeks. At first, it was tough to nail down an appointment, but demand is dropping, so now the shot is much easier to come by. Tim Gordon has a closer look.
Well, it is pretty amazing the turnaround that we've seen in both Oregon and Washington. It certainly is nice if you're looking to get vaccinated to be able to do it more quickly. But this switch in supply and demand is a concern for health officials who fear too many people either don't want the vaccine or are in no rush to get it. At Clark County's Tower Mall Clinic, they are now putting shots in arms with no appointment needed. Appointments are still required for the Clark County Event Center, and the same is true at the Oregon Convention Center, where they've been administering 8,000 doses a day. It is no doubt easier to get an appointment now than it has ever been.
I mean, it's hard to imagine the demand that we had a couple of months ago versus what we have now. I'm not really sure if anybody would have believed that we would get to the point where we actually have appointments available for anybody who wants one at this point.
So if you've been putting it off, now is the time. You can join the more than 3.5 million people that have been fully vaccinated in both Washington and Oregon. That's about a third of the eligible population. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Tim Gordon reporting for us. A major change for students and staff at Oregon State. Anyone living on campus or taking classes there will need to prove they've had a COVID shot. OSU is Oregon's first public university to make that announcement. Willamette, Lewis and Clark, University of Portland, Washington State, and UW are all doing the same thing. There are exemptions for health and religious reasons. OSU says this is an effort to get the majority of students safely back to in-person learning.
This is what a university should do. It should respond to change by being adaptable and using science-based policies and programs.
OSU has already been offering vaccine clinics on campus, and those will continue. In Washington, sports and entertainment venues can host more people if they add special seating for fully vaccinated people. The governor's office made that announcement yesterday, saying fully vaccinated people won't have to socially distance, but they would have to show proof of vaccination, wear a mask, and enter through a separate line. Kids right now not eligible for the vaccine, so they would be required to show proof of a negative COVID test. According to our sister station in Seattle, the Mariners are working on a plan and could have more information a little later this week. Okay, let's talk weather. We're going to head up to the Cascades this afternoon. Isn't that a pretty shot? That's our Timberline Skycam pointed over at Mount Jefferson. Some high hazy clouds, but Rod, lots of sunshine for everybody today.
Yes. By the way, 48 up at Timberline right now. It's 60 at Government Camp. Past temperatures probably hit 70 today over the Cascades. How about that? All right, we are seeing in spots noticeable high clouds, as Brenda mentioned. Our weather maker, which will bring us some rain starting tomorrow, is parked offshore. And I do expect eventually in the coming hours, we'll start to see an increase overall of a little bit more of that cloudiness coming in. And we'll talk about tomorrow's rain and show you Futurecast in about 10 minutes or so. But for now, it is more of a high cloudy sky from the Astoria column camera. Up in Clatsop County, 67. We are expecting 70-degree temperatures at the coast today. But if you come inland and go down to Domain Serene Winery in the Dundee Hills, down in Yamhill County, boy, a few contours in the sky, and that's about it, right? A little bit more of a haze over downtown Portland right now from our riverfront camera. 67 is the temperature. We'll leave today's high at 83. Now, the warmest we've been so far this year is 84, which is achievable. Today's record 87. I don't think we could get past 86. It all means it's going to be warm in the coming hours, Brenda.
It's going to feel good for sure. Thank you, Rod. This noon, we're turning our attention to Northeast 82nd Avenue, which has seen 2 deadly crashes within just 2 weeks. That is a dangerous stretch of road in Portland, and now there's a call for emergency action. As Chris McGinnis explains, one local group wants to reduce the speed limit.
The speed limit here on Northeast 82nd Avenue is 35 miles per hour. We saw cars going nearly twice that recently around lunchtime. They pass right by a memorial for 30-year-old Anthony Tolliver.
We got along with everybody.
He was hit and killed April 24th while crossing 82nd near Alberta. Police are still looking for the driver. Our cameras show it's difficult to cross the 5-lane street with one marked crosswalk within a quarter mile. Just 2 weeks before Anthony died, 1 block to the south, another pedestrian, Stephen Lucer, was struck and killed.
It's an incredibly violent way to die, and it's incredibly common for people to die this way.
Michelle lost a young child on a similar state-owned highway, doubling as a neighborhood street.
It doesn't have to be that way.
Michelle and safety advocates with the group Oregon Walks point to a design flaw.
This one was because it was dark. This one was because it was raining. Well, the one thing that all of those crashes have in common is speed.
Portland's Bureau of Transportation asked the state, who maintains the road, to reduce the speed. 11 months later, the city is still waiting for an answer. Last week, Oregon Walks made the same request, and that's just the first step.
The community has been begging them to improve this street for years and years and years, and they haven't. And so when something like this happens, it's entirely predictable, and it's not an accident. It's totally preventable.
That was Chris McGinnis reporting. Oregon officials have given the go-ahead for a new emergency alert system. The OR Alert would operate statewide. It's expected to be running by this summer in all Oregon counties. People won't have to opt into the program. The alert would automatically be sent out via text, phone calls, and through social media. Well, 8 months after last year's historic wildfires, there are still a lot of people dealing with challenges on the road to recovery. But we're also seeing some encouraging signs. Christine Pitawanich has a look at the rebuilding effort and how people are leaning on each other for support.
Yeah, it was just stunning. Huge windows.
This is what Dennis and Debbie Willer's dream home used to look like. A gorgeous place next to the river and Lyons where they planned to retire. They moved in July of 2020.
We said, this is the home we've been thinking of our whole lives.
But then just 2 months later, in September, wildfire roared through the Santiam Canyon. The Willers took off, driving through fire to get out.
I have to believe that within 20 minutes of us leaving, this house was totally engulfed. And it was just gone. So it was scary. It was scary, but when I saw that road with all the flames, my heart just sank. I said, we've just lost everything we've owned.
This is what was left of their home. Willer says he's glad that before the evacuations, he took pictures of everything they owned for insurance purposes.
It was about 232 pictures that I took.
When it came to rebuilding, at first, the Willers hoped to get help from FEMA, but then, unsure of the fine print and timeline, decided to clean up and rebuild privately.
We broke ground here on the 5th of February.
He's thankful he and his wife haven't had to pay for any of this out of pocket.
It's all been from insurance.
But drive down the road and some of his neighbors' properties look very different.
They're just waiting for FEMA.
The Willers feel blessed by the support they've received from friends and neighbors.
You know, they said, we're going to do happy hour every night, so you can just come over to our house, and if you just need an hour just to cry or
Just chat, yeah.
an hour just to chat, you know, just come over.
And now, what they thought was their dream home will really be something they dreamed up themselves.
We're now getting the house we've always wanted.
Even though the house is still being built, the Willers have already spent one night here in their soon-to-be master bedroom for Debbie's birthday. The Willers tell me they expect their new home to be complete by mid-July. In Lyons, Christine Pitawanich, KGW News.